All right, looks like we're just about set up. Get a bit of an echo on YouTube. Let's see, testing 1, 2, 3. This upper range. And then we did have our pullback, sort of our test of this intermediary zone, this value zone that the market has been respecting ever since we got into these upper price levels, with a lot of this price action setting value for the market. You can see how tight of a range that area was in the past. So From a technical perspective only, we are seeing a market that is attempting, oh, looks like we're coming up on YouTube there. It does look as if this market is attempting to break out for a second time. The reason I say second is because this attempt here was the first. This swing high was important. We failed. We failed to break out on the first attempt. And on the second gap up that we had, we did sell against the prior swing high resistance. So this is a breakout attempt that is occurring in a position of strength inside of the technical aspect of the SPY. Whereas this gap up open may have been coming from a bit of an overextended approach, along with the fact that we gapped into resistance as opposed to above, which can lead to sort of a short covering rally and the sort of strength that the market may need to facilitate additional momentum to the upside. So the SPY's perspective here is, in my opinion, somewhat bullish. We have potential for something to occur that we've tried to do in the past and failed to do so. And we are also getting above this previous swing high, which so far has been acting as sort of a level of resistance that every attempt to get over has failed against. So every time we get above, we sort of pierce it, and then we fail to go higher. The thing about that structure is that where is the market holding on the pullbacks? And this third pullback here, the second pullback here, this one being the first correction territory, this pullback actually held quite well at value, as opposed to losing value or even sitting at value for a couple of days and then sort of tapering off. So technically, I think the SPY is quite strong. I think there's a lot of reasons to consider a breakout today due to what we may see in some of the sectors. And then we also got our jobs report last week on Friday. And we will be talking more about the jobs report and the CPI report coming out later this week, what sort of the analysis you can do on some of the numbers and how to interpret some of the sort of ranges of expectation versus actual. We'll also talk about how the market's reaction is ultimately what matters to us as traders. But from a simple perspective, we saw a jobs report come out, and we saw a very strong technical day, a trend day inside of the NASDAQ, areas or stocks. So what we have inside of the Qs is, and we'll just look at the weekly just to get started. We have a weekly time frame, which is continuing to hold its trend line. We've seen reactions at this trend line that have facilitated very significant moves to the upside. So far, that has not broken. That pattern has not been broken. We also see that we're trading above the 20 period on the weekly. And similar to the SPY, although not necessarily in the same area of the chart, but similar to the SPY, we do have reactions on these pullbacks at areas where we expect the market to react. Things like the daily 20 period, bulls, quote unquote, were able to step in and hold the NASDAQ on Thursday's session. And that is leading to a significant move back above. And if you're just looking at this time frame, we have essentially a V reversal where we hit resistance, rejected, came back down, found some area of support, and so far have 100% retraced that pull down. So that is our pullback structure, longer term and shorter term. That is 100% retracement inside of this 4-day time range. Now, Qs have obviously been sort of lagging in certain sell-off periods, certain corrections that we've had recently. What we've been basically hypothesizing is that if certain sectors are strong sectors were to hold, and the tech sector, the consumer discretionary sector, growth sectors, more risk, I would say risk on elements of the market, if those were to start to wake up and move to the upside against what they have been seeing in recent history, then there is potential for more diversified objects like the SPY, like the Dow, to move higher and break all-time highs. The NASDAQ still has work to do from the perspective of the NASDAQ alone, but stocks inside of the NASDAQ comprise large market caps inside of the SPY, and even some components of the Dow do have sort of a technology spin to them. So all of our other sectors, which have been holding, slightly moving higher, really haven't seen a lot of correction yet. They've simply been trending. The Qs are now starting to basically come alive. And if this can continue, potentially leading into the CPI report, as that might be a potential sort of, buy the rumor, sell the news event that we're seeing with the jobs report sparking this breakout, then there is a large incentive to look at other markets and say, well, if everything is pointing bullish, I certainly do not want to fight that at this time until the market tells me otherwise. So the Qs have woken back up in my perspective. They're coming into some areas that have rejected in the past, but have done full 100% retracements back into them. And the structure here, once again, very similar to the SPY. We have this sort of curling pattern, this V sort of, or W bottom, which is really just a range at the low end. And then we've curled through to pull us potentially for a breakout to the upside. This is going to be your cup and handle inside of a larger time frame, but we do have two ranges inside the Qs. The market is already testing the upper end of the mid-range, and that can lead us to this final upper range, which usually on the breakouts, we want to transition all the way to the top. So the idea is that if this breaks bullish, we do have clear targets, and the target at this time would be the all-time high on the NASDAQ. So Qs have woken back, pointing more to the bullish side in the short term with Friday's price action. And finally, with our IWM, we talked last week about how this market is actually showing a bit of additional volatility, albeit still inside of a much larger trading range. We do have our weekly sort of general support, general resistance zones that we want to keep on watch. We have a weekly time frame that is still holding above the 20-period moving average. And inside of the daily time frame, we did see some significant follow through from, once again, our lower trend line support zones. Notably, inside of the IWM, if we pull to shorter time frames, let's do a 2-hour, we can see that these reactions are quite accurate. They're very well respected, and there's not too much in the way of sort of shakeouts or lower shadows. They do actually react pretty much on the penny inside of this market. Now, we know that the IWM is composed or comprised of stocks that have been quite strong in recent trading activity. We obviously know what's going on with AMC. We've seen some carryover with GameStop. We've seen a return to growth in Plug and fuel cell, some of our alternate energy plays. We've also seen some of the biotechs actually outperform on certain intraday sessions. Maybe not necessarily week to week, but there have been periods of time where other stocks in the IWM have been moving much higher. Financials, for example, a clear winner across the board during this period of the interest yields going higher. But biotechnology and some of these more volatile names have helped either facilitate the move higher or just hold this market while other sectors have been rotated into. And while we are at resistance, I would say that the posture of the market looks about the same. There is a bit of correlation inside of all of these different ETFs that we're reviewing. And the correlation is simply this. If these markets are to rebound strongly, and then we are seeing more shallow pullbacks, can these markets all break out at roughly the same time? And on these breakouts, can we see the market actually hold their sort of respective movement in price? This would be significant for the SPY because it is a move away from large value at roughly 417. The IWM still has large value at roughly 220 to 221 inside of the volume profile, regardless of the time frame you use. That is still true in this upper trading range. And then the Qs, their value zones are a bit bimodal. We do have large value to the top side and to the downside, but the transition from low to high, specifically if it's occurring at other bullish time frames in the market, can lead to sort of an all market push to the upside with some sort of economic catalyst potentially assisting in that movement. And without too much additional discussion, we'll just look at the Dow and say, yes, the posture is very similar, where we have sort of this overall trend that we're trying to hold with sort of large retracements in between, leading us to resistance zones that are about to be tested in the next couple of sessions. Now, the market can obviously do multiple things at these zones. The market can simply hold here for a period of time. We can have large rejections back down, or we can get our sort of pullback approach. But what we want to be aware of is that when we hit these key levels, we need to be basically on watch. Everything in between is sort of the transition from key areas of support and resistance, supply and demand, and just the movement from value to lack of value or otherwise. Whenever we get to spots that are important, this is where you're actually the most focused on your positional risk, your sort of thesis for what the market may do moving forward. And you want the market to tell you what it wants to do, not assume based on previous action. The market could easily move above and fail just like it did at the beginning of May. And that failure could lead to another volatile correction. That easily could occur. We've seen it once before. It's possible for it to happen again. The market could also break through and never look back. This could be a low point in the market for another move higher. If that were to occur, we would see structure form, the trending aspect, and the move away from value zones helping us to that transitional move. If the market simply just stays put and balances once again, then we have what has been occurring over the past couple of months, which is we are trading in a trading range. And it is often beneficial to fade certain high points and to buy certain low points because we're simply moving back and forth between a value zone. So regardless of what occurs, let's stay aware of certain signals and whether or not there's an advantage to think to the upside, to the downside, or somewhere in between. Now, with all of our sectors, a lot of them are still hanging around all-time highs. XLF still lingering near all-time high. We're just sort of slowly moving higher throughout the market sessions. Energy still moving through a previous swing high, still very strong. We have crude hitting 70 at the start of this week. So psychological level, maybe a bit of consolidation or just a lack of follow through at a psychological level. But certainly energy has not really seen much weakness yet. Just something to note. Industrials holding near all-time highs, still trending, still moving against the 20-period moving average on the daily, still in a posture of relative strength with some of the inflationary, I would say, discussions occurring throughout the market. Healthcare has not necessarily performed in the same way as some of our other sectors, but we do see the potential for a pullback buy near the 50. I certainly want to keep this one on watch as we do have a bit of a range sitting above us. And just like the SPY, there is value sitting at the midpoint of this range. So a move away from that value puts the advantage to the bulls because the transition back to value is sort of the higher probability scenario. And then from there, can we move away from value to the upside, leading to once again another fade back, just trading between a range. But healthcare has not seen a lot of sell-off. This still is a large sector of the SPY. So if we saw warning signs inside of healthcare, we may not be as bullish towards the SPY thesis. And then we've talked about tech with respect to the QQQ, very similar posture with XLK, breaking through a previous zone of heavy resistance. We see the market was essentially unable to move higher. We got that really quick one-day pullback to the 20 period, and we have closed above this area. So we do need to respect that we are clearing a zone of previous resistance. We did close above it. We do have potential energy to get to higher points inside of the chart. And then probably the one that we need to be more aware of from a bearish sense is that discretionaries really have not been able to take part in some of that bullish momentum on Friday. We did get a little bit of a reversal inside of Tesla, maybe a bit of a dead cat bounce at the time, but the posture of the overall discretionary sector, specifically Amazon, has not really seen a lot of activity. This is still less of a setup than some of these other markets have shown. And then some of our other sectors, staples, still close to all-time highs, still moving higher. And utilities, something to keep on watch. If we see a large rotation into utilities, maybe a bit of a more risk-off posture in the market, as the bond market has been somewhat in a trading range, whereas utilities have actually been more directional in previous months. So sector-wide, we do have some potential energy to break higher. We do have a yield that did drop based on some of the numbers that came out from the jobs report, albeit there may be some other reasons for that decline. And what we'll be looking at more tomorrow is how the jobs report can be interpreted, how combined with the CPI, the market can take the aggregate of that information, the expected result versus the actual, and then ultimately the theme that the market is trying to basically ride on for as long as possible is whether or not tapering from the Federal Reserve will occur earlier than expected, or simply be on track for economic recovery that the market is trying to interpret inside of these reports. So we'll look at that a little bit more. I'll have a little bit more structure to that discussion tomorrow. But short term, let's keep in mind that the market is trying to give us information. The SPY certainly is giving us something with regards to where it sits inside of its price range. The Qs have woken up. They are breaking out from a technical sense. Can that breakout continue, or is it a one-day sort of trap, for the bulls? And then some of our other markets are simply holding at all-time highs. They have not sold off. We haven't seen a rotation back into tech with financial selling. So with all this in play, if things are simply going to continue, but tech is now on board and bullish, obviously we have some additional strength to get us through these zones of resistance in the market, potentially to sort of change the trading range that we'll start to analyze next week. So with that said, I'm Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Obviously, look to see what the market does today, but we're at this point of inflection that so far the market is trying to test. Allow for that test to occur, allow for the market to tell you what it wants to do after testing, and then obviously play the reactions that we get in between. So trade safe, stay tuned for pre-market prep, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome. Hope everyone's having an amazing weekend. We are going to be live shortly. I'm trying to get our chat room to get going here. We should be okay on YouTube. Just want to confirm that YouTube guys can hear us and see us okay. As we check out what's going on here with our website, just trying to get the stream here. I'm gonna reset again our browser in our room. Good morning, Norm. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Cannot complain.
Good.
Just some early banging over in our neighbor's house. As you guys will probably hear throughout the
Whoa.
stream. uh, and yeah, yeah, it's pretty loud.
You might want
Pretty,
to
pretty loud.
rephrase that.
I just thought about that, and I was gonna say a comment after that was probably not gonna make it any better. And I said, you know what? Don't say that. You will get emails, and you could offend some people. So I'll tell you after. All right, here we go, guys. All right, so the room can hear us now. We're just trying to get the video going into our chat room, and that seems to not be cooperating nicely today. So we'll see if now it works. I restarted a couple of times. Let's see if this one works here. All right, in the chat room, can you guys hear me okay over on our member chat? Yep. Okay, so you guys can hear us, just can't see us. All right, one more shot. We'll be back here, guys, in our member chat room. I'm going to completely close the browser and come back in. Let's see if this works. We'll do Firefox now. Let's see what's going on here. All right, over on YouTube, guys, sorry for the delay. We'll get going in just a bit here. If it's your first time here, we do this every Monday through Friday when the market is open. Also tonight, we're having an onboarding class. If you're interested more about the community and how we operate in the environment, check out our onboarding class today at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're talking to one of the members here, had a couple of good questions about simulator and everything else. And Norm, I saw you jump in and answer a few of those. So yeah, if you want more information, guys, check out the you get a week trial to check things out. It's $24 pre-market 24 is the code that you can use. So try that out and see what we're all about. And that's a way to go about things there. All right, we are started again. Let's see if the video wants to work now.
Fingers
And
crossed.
yeah, fingers crossed. Yes, that worked. All right, I just got the link there. Perfect. All
There we
right, we
go.
are good to go, guys. You could tell it's Monday. The system is having a little bit of hard time to get going here. Even early on with Java, it just wasn't doing its thing. All right, guys, welcome. Hope you had an amazing weekend. Let's get to it. First day of the week, and let's start with what's happening this in this overall market.
Well, we are literally 1 cent on SPY from an all-time high.
Wow.
Yeah, you can pull that up. We've bumped up against this over the last several weeks a couple of times. Then we had a little bit of a pullback, and then last week we set it, and it just printed all-time high right there, 422.93. So, that gives an idea what's going on. This thing looks like a coiled spring at the moment. Jared dove into the markets. I'm not going to beat it up too much. We really don't have any economic data today. You have that pulled up. I apologize. That is not, for whatever reason, didn't save my changes, which was deleting all that stuff because there's really nothing too important to keep an eye on as far as data this morning. We'll see. It's June, a little bit of, I can feel, despite the fact that we're back in a little bit of a meme stock frenzy.
Right.
Despite the fact that we're here at all-time highs with this coiled daily on the SPY and weekly, it's summer. So a little bit lower trading volumes, not quite as volatile. Gappers list generally not as long, but it's coming together this morning. So some general trends in there, and we can kind of go through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, a lot of exciting stuff going on too, with despite coming back at all-time highs and trying to break through that. So we'll see how this thing is going to be. It's definitely exciting, for as exciting as it could get for summer trading as we get into summer trading, right? So we'll see. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at our list this morning, starting with what's up this morning. We have two low floats here leading the way, 2.7 and 16 million. Let's start here with RMED. This one this morning starting to get going nicely, up 51%. It's got 5.7 million shares traded, pre-market action. I know I'm showing you two 5-minute charts. Let's change this to a daily in the bottom here. And it looks good, guys. It looks really good right now as far as a low flow and as far as the way it's moving. So not sure what the news is on this.
I can't find anything.
Oh, there's
So
not.
that's always a little concerning on a 2.5 million share float that's already
Yeah.
traded twice its entire float this morning. Note that it's got nearly a 40% short float as well. So I have a feeling somebody's targeting this for a squeeze. Just watch out.
If there's nothing out there.
There's
Also,
earnings on this, Zin?
oh, there is?
That's what she's saying, but I didn't see that.
Okay.
I'm showing that earnings was on May 7th, or excuse me, May 11th.
I see the same thing. I
Yeah,
see May 11th.
that article's a month old, Zin.
Yeah,
So once again,
May
nothing.
11th, yeah.
And that's the last news I see on it.
Yeah, so be very careful, guys. It's always good to see, even on the low flow stocks, they're a riskier period, and this thing could just be getting a squeeze, and people just decided, hey, let's jump on this and push it up here. But it's nice to see something's actually happening. So that means there's not
Just
a lot
keep
to
in
go
mind
with
if you're
here.
going for a squeeze that it's a 40% short float. So what is that about? Just round it out, call it about 1 million shares float
Right.
short. Well, it's
Right.
already traded 6 times that this morning, roughly. So,
So-
that short float could be completely gone by now.
Be very careful. No inventory to short on this. Also sitting on the American Stock Exchange. I always like to point that out because that exchange is a little bit different for me. I think it trades a little bit different than the NYSE stock and the American Stock Exchange. So I'm sorry, the NASDAQ. So just be careful with that. All right, next we have another 16 million low flow stock, USCR.
Cash buyout.
Oh, this is horrible. Cash buyout. Sorry, so we'll skip on that. Nothing happening there. Nothing to see. QTS also looks like some type of buyout.
Yep.
Yeah, that
that's
doesn't
another
look good. LEDs here this morning, 2.4. This was starting to get going here. We've seen this play out pretty nicely in the past. 20% up this morning, 423,000 shares traded. I would like to have more volume on this one, but I gotta say it is moving, even though on lighter volume than what we like to see for a low flow stock. So let's see. Just starting to get going here.
Caution on that low float. And it's got a hell of a spread too for $25, $23 stock.
Yeah,
but it is going.
Cents there, up to 12 cents on the spread. You know,
it's way more. I've seen it higher than that. I've seen it 30,
yeah.
40 cents at times. So just
Absolutely.
caution.
Very, very careful on this one, guys. And the spread is jumping around a lot. It is pre-market. Hopefully that gets better than the market open. But if you're looking to trade pre-market, be very, very careful. And just make sure you're not chasing, right?
And now your spread just hit 40 cents right there, right before you switched over. Anyway,
horrible.
So just be careful with it.
Yep, we have those two. Did I add LEDs? I did not. I'll add it on here. They're active. Let's see if that gets.
Oh, you already have it.
I did.
You like it so much you put it twice.
No, I do not like that one so much like that. QTS is no good. Mike is on here. Let's see. The Mike this morning is 11.7, 618,000. Horrible pre-market action. I don't like this one bit. So we'll skip on this one. I'm not sure if there's any news. Usually stock like this don't move a whole
there
lot.
is, but I don't like the chart either. They're selling a business division.
Yeah, the daily's horrible. So again, even with that, they're not getting any volume, guys. Only 619,000. And look at their daily for the most part. Very crappy. They barely get above 1 million shares per day, right? So we'll skip on that one. Hopefully you can find something better. CLNE, this one's been a former runner in the past before. We definitely traded it pretty well. Up 10% this morning, 480. Pre-market action's a little quiet right now. Maybe can get going. We'll put it on here. The only reason why we're putting this one too is because we've seen this one trade well in the past. So CLNE, we'll put that on there. U1, this was active a couple of weeks back. It looks like the last couple of weeks, last couple of days, they've been getting on a nice little run here. I don't recall trading this. I know they were very active. I don't recall how the price action was. Friday didn't look so hot neither. On the fence on it, guys. I'm going to skip it for now. It is a 6.1 million shares flow, but I like what LEDs and RMED are doing better as far as action for a low flow stock this morning. AHT, this one is up 7.6 today. Okay, no good, guys. And let's explain a little bit. So REITs, they tend not to have a good intraday trading action. So you might get volume. Look at this. We're trading 1 million shares. We're up 7.4.
This one's been a little bit more of a better trade. This is about the best trading REIT I've ever seen.
Right.
That's not saying much. So
Right. So that's why when you hear say this is a REIT, and we'll kind of skip through it really fast, is that even though they look great now. Even though the chart looks nice here, when you get into the details, they don't trade very well for intraday trading for what we're looking for. And they don't move a whole lot. Like, look, this is a couple of cents only here. So it's pretty, could be pretty crappy and at times. Here is blue. Blue's not looking any better, guys. Very light on the volume. I mean, this was 127 for this entire span. I think they only traded 100,000 shares a day, and this is why they have such a horrible daily. Today they're trading that just in the pre-market, but it's still not giving us any good indication to watch this one. We'll skip on that one. AHT we looked at already. Envis is one that we've seen run up pretty nice in the past before. This morning they are. They're interesting. Up 6.7, 986,000 shares traded. I'm going to remove some of these levels we have here. Decent day on Friday. Possible continuation. Man, we haven't added anything to our main list besides this one, and this is okay. It is okay, not great. Let's go down to Workhorse.
It's June, brother.
Oh, yeah. Let's start the summer here. Here's a Workhorse, guys. Up 5%, 708,000 shares traded. I'll put it on. He'll come back to it. Doesn't look too amazing right now. So again, we have a whole lot here, but not a lot that's looking great. We only picked out about three in our main list. Two in our main list, one possible. So again, not a whole lot going on. CLOV, this one, potential to break out of this 950 area. So I like that. But outside of that, not everything else is looking great. We'll put it as a possible for now. We'll come back to it. TEL is not telling us anything. This chart looks horrible. Pre-market is not great. I just don't see anything great on this one. Now, I had a couple of good days here where it traded some nice intraday action. Looks like based on the daily. Let's see if that's actually true. So if we come in here to the daily, it's the intraday, 6.4. Yeah, that's okay. That's some good action there on 6.4. 6.3, not so much. 6.2, you had madness here in the pre-market action. I think this might be the day that we saw it. Oh man, yeah, this is not great. So possible for now. Might not stay there though. I hope to find something better. NNDM, this is one that I know a lot of traders like. This morning they are up 3.6, 150,000 shares traded. Pre-market action is not doing a whole lot right now. Possible breakout, but I think we're going to see a lot of these stocks sitting in this possible breakout, especially with the SPY hitting the all-time highs. You might see stuff like the AMDs of the world, the Apple starting to break out if the SPY can get going here. But so I'm not going to put too much weight on that, the way that looks at the moment. BB, guys, tons of volume, 4 million. I think these guys are going to be in play today. We also got AMC down here as well. Both of these were hot last week. I expect them to be also hot this week as well. There, AMC alone, 2.3, 10 million shares traded as well. Has a very interesting daily as we continue to trade into kind of a point here. So that could be interesting for us this morning. Tons of volume there. Unshort selling restriction, but we do have shares for short. CCIV here. CCIV is got something going on. I like the chart on CCIV. Finally, something that I can say looks decent. This looks very, very good. Possible breakout out of 24.
Hell yes, it is.
Right here, 20. What is this?
I picked that up on a swing trade in the 23s on Friday. Yeah,
very nice.
So yeah, I like that daily.
Looks very good on the daily, guys. Pre-market action looks nice now for a possible breakout, which is actually breaking out right now. Let's see if it can get going. It has some room to run. The next big level that I have here is 26.14. There's really nothing in here that's telling this thing you have to slow down besides whole dollar number or just buyers getting tired. So I really like what CCIV is doing this morning. AMC, we do have VTNR. We had this last week. And it was okay. It was not great. It had potential in the pre-market. Right now, as far as the daily, I do like the daily. This is why we kept it, because again, this daily looks very, very good, right? This thing popped out of nowhere above 150, but it has held a nice price here, 750. So that's interesting. Pre-market action right now, not the best, but I think this one is worth watching for a potential breakout, because it is after such a breakout like that out of 150, which is not easy to do, and it's even harder to keep it. It's even hard to stay up here. And this one seems to be doing that nicely. So let's see if that can get going. TLRY, this was hot last week too. Had a couple of really nice days. It was really in play. Then this morning up 2.3, 436,000 shares traded. I'm not seeing a whole lot. The daily looks slightly interesting. If we can hold here and get a bounce, that'd be nice. That's a great area of resistance that we are over. But these couple of red days here are telling a different story, at least for the short period of time. That looks a little bit on the weaker side. So I think at least as a possible for now. I know those were a couple of really good days last week in here with this nice breakout above 17. All right, let's see what's gapping down today. We have Masi. Masi this morning is Mosey, excuse me, Mosey is probably better said. Mosey this morning down 13.6, 212,000 shares traded. I don't know. I'm not sure. How did it trade last week? I didn't really keep it on my list.
They were in play. What was it? Friday we came up on this one.
Yeah. It doesn't look too bad. Again, without really, I wasn't paying attention to the price action on this one, so I'm not 100% sure how that was. Possible maybe. We'll see. We'll see. All right, another one. And this has a low flow stock though.
Yeah, it is a low flow. Just under 6 million.
Look at it. Yeah. Probably why I didn't pay attention. Probably had it on the list and probably didn't even pay attention to it. So let's get rid of it here. Let's bring it down. Now that you put it on the low flow, I expect better pre-market action, better volume. So it doesn't look great for a low flow stock. PPBT 16.2.
I think that Mosey's on a secondary as well after that pop. I'm not. Yeah, I believe so.
I'm just gonna get rid of it. It just doesn't look good for a low flow stock. So again, you have different criteria, right? If you look at something low flow sitting under 20 million, you have to look at through a different lens completely. What might look good for a regular mid to large flow stock is not going to be the same standards for a low flow stock, right? We need to see something slightly better. PPBT, this one here doesn't look great. Also low flow sitting at 16.2. I think the only two low flows right now that I'm aware of is LEDs looking okay. And RMED is looking really good here. But again, there's no news on this, so be very, very careful. MGI, this one is a 66 million, but it's not looking good at all. Pre-market action, only 105,000 shares traded. It is down 6% this morning, but not looking all that exciting right now. We know about these two, EDU and Tau. They're just horrible intraday trading stock. They're just getting hammered, though. Look at their daily. They're just getting killed here, so be careful with those. All right, let's take a look at what you guys have. Norm, anything you like on your end this morning?
Still looking.
Still looking. All right. Guys, let's take a quick look over on our chat this morning. CCIV we do have here. That one is looking pretty good this morning, up 3% right now. BNGO this morning. Let's see what we're given here by Mr. Goldman. Goldman's giving us BNGO. BNGO looks interesting. Yeah, nice breakout here. Good pre-market action. Yeah, this looks good. I want to take a second look at that. BNGO, we should put that one on there. Great volume, 2.5 million. So a couple of you guys throwing that one out. Yeah, that looks very good. Lucio's giving us NEO. NEO, what's happening today? Let's take a look, and then we'll look at some other ones too. Tesla, Apple, it's just some of the regular ones that we look at. NEO's daily, guys, looks very good. I love what NEO's doing here. Again, we're kind of slamming into this area of resistance. Great resistance for the stock here, and here you got this as support. We couldn't hold on to that between this span, and we slammed down, right? But we're back up here, so this is interesting if we can get going. Volume is very light right now. SPY is hitting all-time high, so maybe we can get some, a nice run there. Maybe it can help NEO and some of these other stocks that are struggling to get for this breakout. But the last couple of days looking pretty good. Also higher lows here as we get into this 42 area or so. But definitely like that one this morning. That is good. Let's take a look at Tesla. How's that looking? That is not Tesla, by the way. That is a horrible thing there.
Telsa.
Yeah, that is not Tesla. So there we go. Tesla. So this morning, Tesla, not as great as NEO. I like NEO's daily for a possible breakout. These guys are not in play. And I don't think NEO is in play neither, guys. I just think that that daily looks very interesting for a breakout. AREC, this one is gapping up 35%, 5.1 million shares traded. It looks interesting. What's the float on this? What is the float for this? 200, is that right? Yeah, no, look at the wrong thing. Yeah, 230, no, that's not it.
No, 37.
37, here it is, 37. So 37 million shares flow, horrible daily, but again, today they definitely got something going on. If there's a catalyst, this could be interesting. If there's not, you just want to be careful, but I'm going to put it on here. We'll take a second look at that one. Did I type that right? AR, no, what is it, guys? Oh, no.
AREC.
AREC, let's take that off. AREC. All right, there we go. BBIG. BBIG this morning. They're up 8.1, 1.3 million shares traded. Horrible daily. Again, pre-market action is okay. What's the float on this? BBIG. Sitting at 19. Yeah, so it's borderline low float. I really like what LEDs and RMED are doing. If we find a low flow that looks better than these, we can add it on here. But right now, I think these two got really great volume and a decent run this morning. They're up nicely, so it's got to look a little bit better than that today. All right, let's take a look at Apple. We forgot to look at that one. Thank you, Edwin. So Apple this morning, yeah, I think Apple's a good one to watch. Even have it as a possible this morning, especially with the market. We know the stocks are going to tend to follow whatever the SPY does this day, and this morning SPY is looking rather strong, especially if we can break out of here and get to that 425 above that 422. That's going to be nice. It's going to be a nice move there for a lot of companies like Apple, like Neo, that might be sitting borderline of a breakout and just need that extra push here. How about the travel sector? CCL, what's going on there? CCL could be interesting. I'm probably Thor's going to be watching that today, so we'll let him call anything out there. NCLH, let's see what's happening there. NCLH, similar to CCL, again, I think they're just kind of consolidating here. Things are reopening back, so travel is picking up. Travel has picked up, I think. The traffic and everything is, you can see it's a lot different than it was 2 months ago for sure. So Apple, same here. They are up about 1% almost. I think the SPY can get going. Hopefully these can pop up nicely here. All right, guys, we're running out of time, so we're just going to pick up a few over on YouTube. Corey's giving us BNGO. We do have that one on here. Yep, that one is on here looking pretty good right now. Up 14%, 2.6 million. So definitely like that one there. QTS, we looked at QTS. I did not like what I saw. Yeah, this is a buyout. Was this all cash one, Norm? There's a few buyouts in here today, and they look just like this. So be careful with those.
It's a buyout and it's a REIT. So
okay, so double
it's
whammy.
just utter trash. Yeah.
That's a garbage dumpster. That's pretty bad. So you don't want to touch that one. AREC we do have on deck. Leo, that's good. Seth is giving us next. Next is 2 million shares traded, but look how this 2 million shares are trading. They're not looking good. This is not a good 2 million shares trading type action. If you look at like a LEDs or RMAN, this is good action, right? You're getting nice pre-market activity. So something about that doesn't look great right now. I know they got the volume. They're up 27%. What's the float on this, by the way, too? Let's take a look here. Next, daily's horrible, which is okay. Higher flow as well, 120. So a little bit concerning when you have such a high float like that, lower price. It might just be pure chop at the market open. So just be careful if you're going to watch that one. I'm keeping that one off my list just based on those criteria that we see in the past that tend not to trade well, right? So we're doing the best with the information we have. Can we be completely wrong? This thing could be the next best thing since a sliced bread. Absolutely. But the signs are not showing that it's going to be that. Piton, let's take a look here. Piton this morning. Nice little pop on Piton. Pre-market action, don't put too much weight on it. Piton can have a horrible pre-market action and still trade very, very well. So again, a little pop right now, but again, very similar to like an Apple, right? If you look at Apple, very similar to what's going on there. A little bit of a pop this morning with the SPY being high. Neo, same thing. I like what I'm seeing there. So Piton is not really on top of my list when it comes to that type of play. It's not going to be a Piton here. Brian, yeah, we'll ask you that question. We'll answer that at the end of the show. Right now, we're going to go over to community announcements, and we'll come back. And today's Monday, so we will have Dr. Katz on this morning.
All right, quick rundown. Usually we have Brian Monday afternoons, 2:30. He's graced us with his swing trade review stuff more often than that during the pandemic. Hopefully he'll be able to join today. And then, of course, you've got the live onboarding tech classes starting tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesdays, Thursdays, noon, you've got Eamon with trade reviews in the classroom. And then, of course, as far as our webinar series go, our continuing education every Tuesday night, usually at 8 p.m., is our success webinars. Wednesday is psychology webinars, 8 p.m. And Thursday, we've got mentoring. We've got morning mentoring with Andrew at 11 a.m. and group mentorship in the evening with Thor at 8. All right, guys. Tomorrow night, we're going to have Jared's postponed Engineering the Markets webinar. He was supposed to do it last week, but fell ill, so he'll be doing that tomorrow night. Then Peter next week will be talking about his mountain pass strategy. 8 p.m. Eastern, both of them. Wednesday night this week, you've got Mike. Can you forward the slide, brother? Carlos?
Yeah, we're forwarding it right now. Give me 1 sec.
You've got Mike. He's going to be talking about handling the emotions of trading. And then next week is Nada, having a wise and healthy relationship with money. As I mentioned, both of those are at 8 p.m. Eastern. this Wednesday and next. And then if we were talking about it earlier with somebody on YouTube, if you're watching over there, you'd like to give out, oh, well, we'll do this first. Member trade of the day. It's Monday, obviously. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day and trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day with entries and exits, of course, and then put any commentary you can to describe the trade. Post it on Twitter, tagging at Bearable Traders, at Mike B_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family. Day trading and stock market. We'll pick a winner each day and announce on Twitter and in the room in the afternoon. And all the trades of the day are eligible for trade of the week, which is announced the following Monday after the team votes over the weekend. And there we go, the intro membership. If you'd like to give BBT a try, just go to the BBT homepage, bearabletraders.com. Scroll down about halfway right before you get membership options. You will see something for the test drive. There's a picture of it right there. Usually $39. If you use the promo code premarket24, you'll get a discount off of that. $24, 7 calendar days in the room, 5 trading days. Does not auto-renew or turn into any other kind of membership. You actively have to go if you want to continue and select a different membership category. I know one person on there said they signed up this morning. You have access to those live onboarding classes that begin at 8 p.m. Eastern, I mentioned tonight. So there you go. Dr. Katz, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Norm. I'm doing well. And yourself?
I am good, sir. I'm good, thank you. Another round of rain coming in down here. I know you've escaped the hot, humid Texas summer. So good on you for that. We're going to be continuing our series we began last week, and you're going to be talking about handle pressure and stress in trading. So take it away.
Yeah. So today I'd like to kind of get into some of the symptoms of competitive stress that are often experienced by traders. First of all, like, what is competitive stress? Because a lot of people not sure exactly specifically what that is. It's really more of kind of a negative emotion, which is felt by traders or athletes kind of before or after or during a competition or competitive situation. And it often feels like a kind of a loss of self-esteem or a reduction, a questioning of your performance. And it's triggered by the demands of the task or the competition, and also your perception of your capabilities of achieving your desired goal. So what I wanted to talk about a little today is some of these symptoms of competitive stress, both physical symptoms and psychological symptoms, that you can kind of do your own self-check. Again, when I mention a bunch of these, we all experience some of these to some degree. So it's really more kind of tuning into your sense of self and seeing if you are kind of responding to stress and the pressure in a kind of less than constructive, somewhat unhealthy way. So one of the first signs is mood swings during the trading day. That's a big thing. It's not uncommon to have a certain fluctuation in your mood depending on how you're trading, making money, losing money, following your plan or not. But if these mood swings are kind of more roller coaster-ish and pretty significant, and the emotional volatility is pretty wide, that's something to take note of. Lack of sleep after a poor trading day is another kind of symptom or sign of competitive stress. Again, within reason, it's not uncommon that our sleep could be disrupted for a number of reasons. But if you're feeling too much anxiety and pressure and stress associated with your trading outcomes, and that has led to kind of really disrupted sleep, it's really an indication that this is something you need to work on. For people who are extremes, this doesn't happen that often, but sometimes people have bad dreams or nightmares related to their trading performance. This sometimes is following a kind of usually a really big loss, that sometimes people are imagining that happening again. So just something to take note of there. Loss of appetite or a weak stomach. Some people respond physiologically to when they're under a lot of pressure, they lose their appetite. This is particularly important because you need to maintain healthy eating and hydration and nutrition just to kind of fuel your body so that you're in optimum, situation mentally and physically for the demands of a trading day. So that's something to watch. People, when they're under a lot of pressure, sometimes get a little more aggressive or irritable with others. Probably your family members, loved ones are usually the recipients for all of us of those days. So I think it's important to watch that. We don't want to act out our upset, our pressure, our stress on the people we love and care about, who often give us the most amount of support. So if you notice that's getting a little more significant, that's something to keep an eye on and address. Some people have physical, clammy skin, hands or feet, increased heart rate. These are some of the physiological indicators sometimes of ongoing significant stress. Some people, feel so out of control, they become more manipulative and trying to control situations unrealistically. This often comes because there's a lot of trading. You don't have control over the markets. So sometimes people try to exercise a level of control that can be unhealthy and off-putting to others. A common one is an inability to achieve and maintain focus during the trading day. This is a real kind of warning sign for stress or pressure getting to you. If you find that you're getting distracted frequently, that's kind of an indication that you probably need to attend to your pressure and stress, because that could really be debilitating to your trading, because if you're not locked in and focused, you're more likely to make a poor trading decision. Sometimes, there's a lost desire to socialize or engage in a support network. This is why BBT family is so huge. Even if you feel like you've been performing poorly and you want to back out from the normal people you chat with or communicate with, I would really encourage you to manage this. Just hang in there, because social support, trust me, if you're going through a rough time, I guarantee you speak to 10 people in BBT and there will be more than 3 who will tell you, man, I've been there before or worse. So the support is really important. People get significant. They get really upset. They lose interest in trading. This would be a sign that the pressure or stress is really getting to you. And so, sometimes people also get an exaggerated or heightened feelings of worry or helplessness and anxiety. These are often more extreme senses of when pressure and stress get to you. Next week, we'll kind of dive into, in part 3, some tips and techniques for dealing with pressure. But you may want to take some of the things and take note of the things that I mentioned today to see where on the spectrum you fall in terms of managing your own stress and pressure. So that's the Monday mindfulness segment for today, Norm.
Awesome discussion. Such an important part of trading, and frankly, almost all aspects of our lives anyway. But trading can be extremely stressful. So much appreciated, Doc. I hope you have a wonderful week.
Okay, you too, Norm.
Take care.
All right, guys. Thank you, Dr. Katz. Guys, let's give him a big thumbs up over on YouTube. We highly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's look into the SPY right now, bouncing back from all-time highs right now. At the moment, again, it's going to be an interesting day to see if we can get above that and get something going here. All right, let's recap what we have. Envis on the list right now. That one is looking okay this morning. I do like the potential of a breakout here if we can get back up to 23. Workhorse right now looks okay. So pre-market action looks better. Daily, not so great, but we'll see how that turns out. BB is definitely in play. AMC is definitely in play, both with incredible volume, as we've seen towards the last couple of weeks, really starting June 26th. You can see the volume increase into the 27th, and it has held up pretty good until about Friday. Friday was not great. Let's see what it does today. But the volume, guys, almost 800 million shares traded. So again, the volume is really, really nice on AMC. Here's CCIV looking good pre-market. Possible breakout here. Definitely like what I'm seeing here. The day looks amazing. This is probably one of my favorite stocks this morning. We'll do levels for that one. BNGO looks interesting as well for a possible continuation here. Pre-market action looking very good, up 12.4. And then we have Apple here, which looking good as far as following the market a little bit and see where that goes there. Slightly above this great level that we're seeing here. All right, let's do levels for all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So probably one too many, but that's okay. Let's start here with the Envis. So pre-market action right now is the high of the pre-market, pretty much the high from Friday. So that's already on there for you. Above this, we do have a daily level over here at 26.66, and then all the way up here, obviously at 27. What you can do in here, guys, this is a big gap, right? So look out for 24, look out for 25. If you want, you can also go into these 2 intraday trading days and see where you find levels of resistance where something maybe was having a struggle getting above a certain level or above a certain level And you can look and say you can mark those levels as well. I'm just going to keep an eye out for 24 and 25. This is the main level we'll try to get to, hopefully 25.66. Towards the bottom, the only thing you need to add is the low of the pre-market sitting at 20.77. Below that, the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days are doing an amazing job. They're taking care of you there. Workhorse is next. Pre-market action looking good, guys. I like the volume on it this morning. High of the pre-market, 14.27. So we'll throw a level there. Below that, we do have the highs and lows from Friday and Thursday. And then below that, we have this nice little gap that we saw last week on Wednesday, right? We had a nice little move on Wednesday, Thursday, gapped up pretty nice here, 11.52. You definitely want to mark that down. I don't think we'll get there today, but this thing is been trading very nice. You can see on Thursday had a very big range here, all the way from 13 to 18. So we'll see today if we can get something going here. Towards the top now, you have the highs from Thursday all the way up here. And in between here, you have a couple of highs and lows as well. Let me see if we have something in between here, because this is a big move, obviously. We have this great level here at 1647. 1647, plenty of days opening and closing right around that area. So that's looking good for Workhorse. All right, let's look at BB. So BB, guys, very active as we've seen the last couple of days. AMC is trading a little bit better, but BB on Thursday and Friday, not so bad. So maybe today that will continue. 1484 is the high of the pre-market. Towards the bottom, plenty of support here, guys. The low from the last 2 trading days, the previous day close. I mean, this area here clearly is a major area of support. This is where your low of your pre-market is also sitting as well. Now towards the top, you have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. I don't think you need to add any more here, guys. I think this is looking pretty good as far as levels. Maybe this one here, actually this one could be a good one. 15.95, maybe 16. You got both of these days opening and closing right on here at that same price target. So that could be interesting to have on there as well. So we'll see. 5.5 million shares traded, up 4.5, looking very good this morning. AMC, which again, we've been talking about this one, also been very active. High of the pre-market right now, 51.83. So we'll throw a level there. Towards the bottom, you have another great support here. The low from Friday, also the low of the pre-market this morning. So that's already done there for you. Below that, you do have the low of Thursday all the way down here. What is this, around 38, 37, 50 or so. Towards the top, you got the highs from the last 2 trading days. This is doing an amazing job. I don't think you need to add anything more. High of the pre-market is here, 51.83. We're trying to get up there. Let's see if that can make it. But for the most part, as far as daily levels, AMC is looking very good right now. CCIV, guys, this is we've been talking about this one all morning. But here you can see this previous day close is a major area of support and resistance, mainly more resistance than anything. You got it here and you have it here as well. We're slightly above that now. If we can get running towards this 26.14, that would be nice. That is the next major area of support and resistance that I'm seeing on this daily. Outside of here, you got a couple of days, maybe 25.52. But I won't add too much weight on that one. Putting a lot of weight on the 26.14. That's where you see a lot of change in direction happening, days opening and closing right on that level there. So looking pretty good right now. Pre-market action is very active. It is up 2.8. 626,000 shares traded. Let's see if we can hold here and continue on this uptrend. Will be very nice. BNGO this morning also picking up some volume here in the pre-market. They have 3 million shares traded right now. High of the pre-market at the moment sitting at 792. Slightly above that, we do have a level here at 841. Great area of resistance right on here. You can see the change in direction. I love when those levels do that. You get that change in direction. That's pretty good. And then even if you go further back to the left, you can see that change in direction there. It was a prior area of amazing support for this stock. You can see here plenty of days just trying to stay above that. Obviously, when it fails, look what you get. You get this huge flush here because once buyers see that, hey, we're not holding this 841 here, things can go south pretty quickly. And that's exactly what happened there. Towards the bottom, low of the pre-market, 715. Let's mark that down there. And then below that, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, doing an amazing job there. No need to add anything more. Here's Apple. Apple towards the bottom is very congested right now. So I'm looking for this to hopefully get going with the help of the SPY. So right now, high of your pre-market sitting at 126.47. We'll throw a level there. And then slightly above that, we do have a level here at 127.72. So right on there, guys, 127.72. Great area of resistance happening here, and also prior support on here as well. So let's see if we can get going towards that level. That would be great. But again, that's what I'm looking for in Apple, to stay above this previous day close and continue to push higher here. All right, that is what we have. Let's take a look at our moderators lineup this morning, guys. 9:15 Eastern time. We'll be going soon over to Brian and Andrew so they can take us to the market open. Let's resize this, bring this over and see what do we have. All right, here we go. Where's our, okay, there's the list. Resize this so that it makes sense for you guys to look at. Bring this over here, and all right, let's run through this. So what do we have? We have Amen leading the way, Bank of America, Disney, FSLY for Amen in secondary list, Workhorse, QS, and Tall on his list. Thor is looking at CCL, just like I predicted. TCL is definitely something that he likes to trade. Neo, Fubo, and secondary list, AMD, Disney, Workhorse, and also Apple for Thor this morning. John is looking at Docu, mRNA, NVIDIA, and Airbnb on his list, looking for that high of day breakout on those main ones there. No IPOs for today. Peter's reporting. Dima is watching CCIV, PLTR, Plug, and Apple. Tiffany likes Apple, AMC, and CCIV. Jared is looking at AMC, BB, and a possible, what is this here? An Apple, of course. And then she's looking at some possible levels from Friday. He's looking for breakouts. Peter's looking at AMD, Apple, BB as his main list. Secondary list looking at AMC, Envis, RMed. It's a low flow stock, so be very careful with that one. But it's very active this morning. Already 6.8 million shares traded, up 35%. And the pre-market action on that was looking pretty good. Mike is looking at NVIDIA, mRNA, just those two on his list this morning. Brian is looking at Envis, AMC, excuse me, BB, LEDs, and also Wish on his list. For Brian today. So, all right, guys, that is what we have. We are pretty much set for this pre-market open. Andrew and Brian are up next. Remember, guys, if you have not checked out our community, you can do so. You can still sign up today and join our onboarding class tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time over on YouTube. Please make sure to hit that thumbs up, guys. We really appreciate it. It takes you 2 seconds, but it helps us a whole lot on our end. So if you could do that over on YouTube, is highly appreciated. With that said, guys, trade safe today, start of the week. So make sure your focus. Again, we want to come in here knowing that things could be a little bit choppy. Our list starting out was not great. There's a lot of stuff there that looked very choppy. After we kind of fine-tune this a little bit, we're seeing some stuff that looks pretty interesting this morning. So let's be patient, wait for that setup, and we're seeing some good tickers that can hopefully do very well for us, especially CCIV. I'm just adding a level of CCIV here, 2488 high of the pre-market. Throw that on there. That is looking very good this morning. All right, guys, take care, trade safe, and we'll see you tonight. Have a good one, guys.